And welcome to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless. He is the founder of Allied Wealth, as well as joined by Peter Lott, financial advisor. Ryan, how are you this morning?
I am so well and so glad to be here with you.
I am so excited to have you in the studio today. And Peter, how are you?
I'm awesome, Cynthia. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you both again, because obviously I know that things have been so incredibly busy for you. You're helping people plan properly for retirement, and until tuning into the show, they perhaps didn't have any idea that they truly needed a plan. So Ryan, I should ask you right out of the gate, is it still a staggering number of folks that do not have a true written comprehensive plan for retirement?
It's beyond staggering. I mean, It really is. People they take what I call a junk drawer approach. So they really don't know what's going on, right? And the statement comes in and they're like, I'm not looking at that thing, let's throw this in the junk drawer, right? Or they have the other plan where they just say, my retirement number is a bazillion. So I just throw money at the problem and hope something good happens, right?
Yeah.
That's not a plan. That's not going to work. There's a lot more to it. If you want to live the most fruitful life that you can possibly live in your golden years and get every ounce of enjoyment out of the money you saved and you built for retirement purposes, you need a plan, and a good plan.
Absolutely. Peter, let's talk about the pieces and the parts of a really good, well-designed plan.
Perfect. That's really easy. We want to talk to you and we want to get to know you first. See what kind of, what makes you tick, what's your excitement about retirement, how far off it is, and put those pieces in. We want to know, account values, things like that, with your 401k, if you've got a pension, Social Security, things like that, and put that into a plan for you. And kind of spit that back out, but most importantly, put it in a way and explain it to you to where you can understand it. You're not just looking at a big spreadsheet. You've got numbers there that we're going to be able to explain to you, can understand it, and that's huge, is the education process of it, and seeing what we do.
Walk away with confidence.
Absolutely.
Be able to go out and spend money in your golden years with confidence and not have to worry about it.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I know is that still the number one fear that people have in retirement, is that they could run out of money, Ryan?
No question. And there's so many things that they think about, spending is going to be what's the cause of me running out of money.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that. There's taxes. There's surcharges on Medicare. There's investment risk. There's investment fees. Mm-hmm. All of those things can be the cause of running out of money, not just based on what you spend in retirement too. So any good plan is going to take all those things in and factor it into your ability to spend money in retirement, do what you want to do, but be able to do it with confidence.
Yeah.
And that's such an invigorating thing, is to be able to go out into the world. If I want to take my kids to Disney World this year, or their grandkids, I can do it. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter, is there an age that people should start thinking about retirement? What's your thought on that?
I think maybe looking out 5 years before. I mean, obviously we have the people that come in, I'm retiring next week and throw a bunch of stuff on our plate. That's okay, but if you've got 3, 4, 5 years to look into this thing and we can kind of guide it and build it on that, I think that's a perfect time, Ryan, 3 to 5 years before retirement, to come in and really just get some ideas so you know what retirement looks like. A lot of people, they just want to put money into a retirement account. They have no idea what it's going to be.
Just throw some money at the problem.
Yeah, just throw money at the problem.
Hope something good happens.
see what happens at the end. And a lot of people, too, they call in and they're thinking, I've got to work 5 more years. And the thing is, we can get them retired in 3, and it's exactly what all they need, and they're out in 3. When they hear that, they're like, oh, I'm done with this gig. I'm out.
The job becomes optional.
Absolutely. That's great.
It becomes a lot different job when it's optional.
Indeed.
Too.
It's like, hey, you came through you called the show, you came in, we took you through the process, and now you were stressed out about working, and you're getting tired, that sort of thing. So now you know that if you have the ability to where things aren't working out for you at work, you can say, take this job and shove it.
Yeah.
You can do that now.
Yeah.
You've earned the freedom to do that.
Well, it's a different kind of confidence when you go in the next day knowing that you don't really have to be there.
Absolutely.
I mean, that has to be amazing.
Absolutely. Plus and I hate to interrupt you there, plus it feels the fear of the unknown. The fear of, what if I had to suffer another financial crisis 6 months from now? What if we couldn't make it to retirement? So it really fills that fear up and can alleviate that fear for a lot of people, and they sleep better.
Absolutely.
They really do.
Ryan, what types of questions should people be asking themselves if they're thinking about retiring?
Wow, a lot. I mean, the primary thing is, how do I have my money positioned? All right, so do I have all my money in an IRA? Do I have all the money in a brokerage account? Do I have everything kind of stacked in one place? We want to be able to have money in different buckets. And the reason why I want to do that is I can help you greatly mitigate tax liability throughout your retirement if we're not drawing everything out of an IRA. So that's one thing they need to think about. The next thing is, if you're retiring mid-year, if you're retiring mid-year and you make a bunch of money mid-year and then you file for Medicare, you're going to get hit with IRMA, which is income-related modified adjusted amount, to where you're paying $500 a month for the Medicare, same Medicare your neighbor's paying $100 a month for, right? So those are some that's another thing to think about. Another one is, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, do not retire and go home and sit in the lazy boy rocking chair, because your health is going to decline very fast.
Great point.
Right? But what's your vision? Who are you with? Where are you going? What's in your bucket list? What are the things that you want to do? And those are just some basic things that they really need to be thinking about before they take the plunge and make the decision to retire.
Thank you, Ryan. Peter, when people come in for the very first time, what does that feel like?
So what it looks like is, you call in, you set an appointment, and we really just want to talk to you on the telephone and kind of get to know you a little bit, gather some information from you, see what your goals are, what you want to achieve, what that looks like, and then also get some information from you, like, current account statements, things like that with your 401k, if you've got any IRAs, brokerages accounts, any of the other investment accounts that are out there, Roths, and just put all that together and start building and working that plan. And the more I know about you, the better plan I can build you. It's kind of like if you go to the doctor and you tell him half your symptoms, he probably can't really give you a good diagnosis.
Yeah.
And knowing more actually helps us. I love when a client calls in and they just tell me the whole story.
Yeah. Because
then I can help them. When the client calls in, they tell me a couple of bits of the story, and then a week later I hear a couple more bits. It makes it a little bit more difficult. But
I wish you would have told me you were going to buy the big truck and travel trailer before you retire. All right,
Exactly.
right when you retire. You should have told me that part. That would have been nice to know. Yeah, we see some doozies, that's for sure.
We do.
Oh my goodness, I can imagine. You could probably write a book at this point, right?
we could. We certainly could.
Well, Ryan, I know that you and Peter have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home. Why don't we talk about what that is and then open the phones?
Yeah, so we're offering a blueprint, a retirement blueprint. It's totally complimentary. We don't charge for it. And the people that need this blueprint, if you're somebody at home who wants to get every dime that's already rightfully yours out of Social Security, you need the blueprint. If you're someone at home that wants to reduce risk and pay less fees, you need the blueprint. If you want to take less risk and get more return, you need the blueprint. If you want to figure out how to squeeze every dollar out of your nest egg to live the best possible life you can with the resources you had to work with, you need the blueprint. And those are the things that you will get from coming in and talking with us and do the blueprint. And folks, listen, I know we live in a post-COVID world, so if you want to do it this way, click the QR code right there in the bottom of the screen there, you can see. And click that QR code. It'll take you to our landing page. You can fill out some information. And we can even do this virtually, right? Some folks say, hey, I may not be a fit for Ryan and Peter, right? So we can have a phone call and do it that way. Or you're welcome to come into our office. And if you can hear my voice right now, we have an office near you.
Excellent. Ryan, thank you so much. Peter, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Cynthia.
To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 844-944-7555. We know you have a lot of questions for Ryan and Peter about how to plan your perfect retirement. They have the answers for you. All you have to do is take advantage of picking up the phone and calling in today. That number is 844-944-7555. We have to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit in detail about 401ks. And if you have some from a previous employer, what should you do with those? Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss the response.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless. He is the founder of Allied Wealth, as well as Peter Lott, financial advisor. Gentlemen, a great show that we're having today, obviously talking about such an important thing, planning for retirement. But I'd like to spend a little time in this segment talking about the 401k. I know a lot of viewers in the audience right now perhaps have switched jobs throughout the course of their career, because most people do right now. They don't stay in one place for long. So Ryan, what happens when someone has a 401k from a previous employer? Do you advise rolling it over, or do they just leave it where it is?
I strongly advise rolling it over. And there's a plethora of reasons for that, but primarily the 401k was never designed in the first place to be your primary source of retirement funding. But that's what it became, right? It replaced pensions through the 1980s and up to the year 1999. And as a result of that, you know, the onus of saving for retirement was put on the 401k plan participant or the employee or the retiree, whatever you want to call them. And now they're responsible for paying for their own retirement, right? It's not on the company anymore. You know, old days, you got the pension and the gold watch when you retired, and the company managed the pension, and you just got your mailbox money. Well, today, that doesn't work. That's not how it works anymore. You know, 13% of companies out there today even offer pensions. So with the 401k plan, it's one of these things where if you can take the money out of your current plan and move it into something that might have some more flexibility, maybe be able to mitigate your downside risk, maybe be able to maximize your upside potential returns, that's probably a good idea to look at, because, you know, after 08, 09, when the market crash happened then, you may have seen that there were 200 mutual funds that you could invest in.
That's right, Ryan. And now you've got 20, maybe 25, 30, up to 30 options, and that's it. There's nothing left after that.
That's all there is to it.
So if you've got, 25 to 30 different options to invest into, you don't really have enough to kind of make that picture.
Well, I always ask, is there a possibility that outside of that watered down 25 option plan, is there a possibility that something exists outside of that 401k that could put you in a better position, in a better situation, and be more appropriate for your age and your liquidity needs and your risk tolerance? And the answer is absolutely yes. Pete, one of the things that we see? What do you feel about these target date funds we see in the 401ks?
So I see a lot of target date funds, and 2025 fund, 2030 fund, and what they're designed to do is earlier in your retirement, when you picked this 20 years ago, it had a higher allocation to equities. And as you get older, it gets a higher allocation to bonds. So as we get closer to that date, it gets a higher allocation to bonds. Well, the problem we're seeing is, obviously, the big word is inflation. It's rising interest rates, and bond values and interest rates, they're inverse of each other. So when these interest rates start to go up, bond values are going to go down. So you've got this huge portion of your 401k that's sitting in an asset class that it's pretty easy to tell is going to go down in value.
Which is to me is mind-boggling that people continue to allocate capital to target date funds.
Yeah.
You absolutely shouldn't do that. You should take your old 401k, roll it into an IRA. That's tax-free, by the way. There's no tax liability when you do that whatsoever.
Okay. Wow.
So roll the old 401k into a new IRA, open up the world of investment options that are out there to you, and then use your 401k to be more aggressive. But maybe have some more exposure to the S&P 500, okay? So you can be a little more aggressive in your 401k, but then find things that might be good alternatives to bonds that are outside your 401k and that IRA account you were created from rolling your old 401k into it. And there's plenty of alternatives out there to bonds that can help mitigate downside risk, help maximize returns, and help reduce volatility in the overall portfolio. So you kind of look at it as, hey, this 401k is my aggressive money, it's my bucket money over here. And over here at the IRA with Ryan and Pete, we're trying to mitigate downside risk and maximize return and reduce fees. Right? So you have kind of the best of both worlds.
Okay. Peter, I have to ask you a question. If a company is offering a Roth 401k, is that always a good idea for an employee to take advantage of?
I think so. I think a lot of clients should, a lot of employees should take advantage of that if they can. If you're in your late 50s, I don't know if it's necessarily worthwhile, but if you're and close to retirement, I don't know if it's necessarily worthwhile for you. But if you're earlier in age, I think so. But it really just depends on that specific person. Everybody's got this unique financial fingerprint. And I don't care who you are, how much money you have, your path to retirement is going to be different. And you really just want to fine-tune that fingerprint, that retirement plan, to what you're going to do. So it might be okay to start a Roth in your specific situation. It's just depending on what you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
So it's really independent on what people are bringing in.
To add to Pete's point, there's some of the matching comes into play. So sometimes your company won't match in the Roth as much as they will in the regular 401k. So look at that, right? If I can match, over here in the 401k and get more out of the 401k by getting the match and not doing the Roth 401k at work, I might can do a Roth outside of that, right? Or maybe they match equally to your Roth 401k portion as they do your 401k portion. So it's one of those things you want to make sure that you're taking full advantage of the match and don't give up the free money just to put money in the Roth 401k.
Yeah.
Because they may not match the Roth 401k. It just depends. And every 401k plan is different. I mean, we call doing in-service rollovers or retirement rollovers all the time, and every single plan has a unique difference to it.
It's interesting that we come across so many people that have a 401k, IRA, or Roth, and they don't realize that 59 and a half, they can do what's called an in-service withdrawal. And what that allows them to do is take those funds from the 401k, move it to a self-directed IRA. It's a non-taxable event, and it gives them more control of the money. I can't tell you how many people we talk to that the light bulb goes off and they think, oh, I can actually move that and get that out of there. That's great. Your 401k stays intact. You still keep contributing to it, but you move the bulk of it out, and kind of like Ryan said earlier, make the 401k a little bit more aggressive. I call it supercharging. Supercharge that 401k.
The balance.
Bring the balance of it. Bring the large portion of that IRA now and protect that.
Thank you, Peter. Ryan, why aren't more advisors talking about the things that we're talking about on the show today?
Well, it's because of who they work with and how they're licensed.
Okay.
I mean, we're licensed fiduciaries, right? We're completely different than the guys that are at the retail strip centers, the people you talk to at your bank, the big box outfits out there. And so the reality is that when you're working with an advisor like that's not an independent like Pete and myself, they are given a set menu of products and services they can offer the people that walk into the door. And that set menu includes hidden fees and charges that you pay for as the end user client, and they get those kickbacks behind the screen over here, and you don't see any of that stuff going on. So there's a reason why they're given that set menu of products and services, because the parent company they work for, their captive company, if you will, wants them to sell that stuff because the captive company makes a bunch of money on the back end, right? So we always say it's like, you go to Baskin Robbins in the old days, they had the flavor of the day. Well, do they have the flavor of the day because it was the flavor of the day, or were they getting a discount on that flavor?
Yeah.
Or why was vanilla the flavor of the day? Why wasn't it chocolate, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that with the big brokerage houses, and so a lot of advisors are just handcuffed by their lack of independence, and we're not handcuffed to anything. We don't have any company coming in our office telling us what to sell our clients or put our clients' money into or what products to use, and nor will we allow anybody to do that because we're independent. We go out and find what we feel is the best products, best programs for our clients' money. We quantify why they're the best, all right? And we match our clients' needs with those products and programs.
Well, Ryan, I know that you and Peter have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is again before we reopen the phones.
It's a blueprint. It's a blueprint for your financial future in retirement, and it is totally complimentary. It's something we don't charge for. We put a lot of effort and energy into this, and I always ask, if you're someone at home who wants to squeeze every nickel out of Social Security that's already rightly yours, call us. Take advantage of the blueprint. If you're someone at home who's, has says, hey, I've earned a lot of this money. I know that taxes are going to be an issue in retirement. I want to spend more and keep more for myself and give Uncle Sam less. Call us for the blueprint. If you're somebody who wants to reduce your overall fees while taking less risk and get more return, call us for the blueprint. These are all things that happen to our viewers or for our viewers when they do take advantage of the blueprint. So call the number, 844-944-7555. You can also click the QR code. I know we all know about QR codes now post-COVID, right?
Right.
Click that QR code, takes you straight to where you need to go to find us, and we look forward to seeing you and working with you.
Peter, thank you so much. Ryan, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 844-944-7555. We know you have a lot of questions about your perfect retirement. Ryan and Peter have the answers for you. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call in today, 844-944-7555. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break, and I want to talk a little bit about gold and precious metals, so stay tuned.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless. He is the founder of Allied Wealth, as well as joined by Peter Lott, financial advisor. Gentlemen, a wonderful show that we're having today, talking about very important topics, of course, circling back to planning for retirement. In this segment, I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about gold and precious metals. A lot of people have questions about those. So Ryan's thoughts on gold and precious metals?
So my view on gold and precious metals is uniquely different than a lot of folks out there. First and foremost, people buy gold and precious metals in two capacities. One is to combat inflation. So there you've got that camp out there, which gold and precious metals will absolutely do that. The other camp is more of a end of the world U.S. dollar collapse. You know, what do I do, right? So it depends on what camp you're in. If you're trying to combat inflation, make sure that your portfolio has the ability to automatically allocate towards things like a gold or a commodities index or real estate that will go up in value during inflationary times, which we do at Allied Wealth for our clients, by the way. And then if you're somebody who is worried about the collapse of the U.S. dollar, it is super important that if you want to buy gold or silver, you buy it in what's called a gold eagle coin or a silver eagle coin. This is super important.
Okay.
The reason why that is that a gold eagle coin is declared a lawful currency under the United States Constitution and therefore cannot be confiscated or taxed.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that, right? So it's one of these things where you can go to Monex, the website out there, and their exchange, and these things come to you via the post office. The postmaster brings these coins to you, all right? And so to that end, you know, we're starting to see inflation rise. So I did some work with a guy named Trader Vic, who is probably the godfather of commodities on Wall Street. And Vic and I were speaking at a conference together, and I asked him a question that no other financial advisor in the room had the guts to ask him. And it was, hey, Vic, what do I tell my clients who are these gold bugs who feel like they have to have all their money in gold and silver coins because the U.S. dollar is going to collapse and no longer be the reserve currency of the world? He says, well, that's a great question. He says, so we have the same issues with our clients asking us the same question. So I went back and researched it. And Vic's the guy to do this, right? Went back and researched it. And he said, what he came up with is if you have 10% of your liquid net worth allocated to physical gold and silver, and you are hedged at any capacity, meaning the gold and silver at 10% of your overall portfolio would rise to create the same purchasing power in the event that we have a major depression-like scenario or the dollar collapses or something like that. So a lot to that answer, but those are some great things for our viewers at home to have in their tool bank, so to speak. And one of those things is lastly, I'll tell you too, is don't put your gold in a safety deposit box. Have your gold coins at a safe in your house at home. All right, and don't tell anybody that you got it, by the way.
Right. That makes sense. I love that. Peter, I also want to ask you, you're very passionate about making sure someone is not taking too much risk in their portfolio.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Because I've seen people, I was around in 2008. I've been in this for about 15 years now, and I saw 2008 come by, and I saw people just lose their life savings in a short amount of time. And the difference with 08 was it took a couple of years for the market to recover. So if you're in retirement and you're in a situation where you're pulling income out and the market's down, 35, 40%, that's devastating.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't like that devastation to occur to any of my clients. And
Yeah.
if I have a client that's, risk, I want risk, I really wanted to explain to them what to look like, what it's going to look like if we see this.
Yeah.
And, I know it's been so long since 08's happened, but we're not immune to that.
No, we are not.
We're not immune to that whatsoever.
And Pete, a lot of people, they lost a lot of money because they say to us, well, I've got this advisor, and he moves it around for me. Well, guess what? That's not how it works.
It's not.
Here's how it works. That advisor is going to have your money in mutual funds, especially if you're working with a bank, a big box name, or somebody in a strip center, okay? And in that mutual fund, there's a manager. And that manager has to adhere to Reg 35D1, all right? And Reg 35D1 says if I call myself a large cap stock fund manager, I have to have 80% of my fund invested in large cap stocks at all times. Oh. So that fund manager, and they saw this in 2008, 2009, they saw the freight train barreling down the tracks of them. And guess what they could not do?
Move money.
They couldn't sell because of Reg 35D1. And so many people don't know that. So if you're at home and you're like, sitting here saying, Pete and Ryan, you guys sound good, but I've got my guy, he does a good job, he moves it around for me. He don't. It's not the way it works.
Wow. See, once again, we're talking about things that people don't talk about typically, and I think that they need to know that,
Absolutely.
obviously. It's so important. So we only have about a minute and a half left of the show this week, gentlemen, and obviously the time goes by so very quickly every time we're together. But Ryan, any final words of wisdom that you want to give the viewers at home before we open the phones?
Absolutely, folks. I would love for you to give us a call, 844-944-7555, and take advantage of the blueprint. It's complimentary. I mean, we don't even charge you for it, right? And so if you're somebody who is wanting to get the most out of your Social Security, someone who wants to keep more money in your pocket and give less to Uncle Sam in your golden years, somebody who's got a question about a pension, or what do you do with your Medicare? All of these things are put together in a comprehensive plan that we build for you. And again, that's totally complimentary. And I promise you, when you are done with that planning process, you will know your stand and you will have confidence in your financial future.
Ryan, thank you so much for another amazing show this week. Peter, thank you so much as well. It was really very informative. To the viewers at home, we want to thank you specifically for spending time with us today. That number to call is 844-944-7555. We know you have so many questions for Ryan and Peter about how to plan your perfect retirement. They're offering the blueprint to you today. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call 844-944-7555. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back here, same time, same location, 1 week from today. Take care.